What is History, by E. H. Carr. History, Science, and Morality. What is the relationship between history and science? The traditional view of history as a science is no longer tenable. Laws of history are hypotheses that are subject to revision. Scientists now view laws as hypotheses that are subject to revision. The goal of history is to understand how things work, rather than to find laws of history. History should be about understanding how things work. Historians should not try to judge the past by the standards of the present. We should try to understand the motivations and actions of historical actors in their own context. History is a valuable discipline that can help us understand the present and the future. Generalizations in science and history. Both historians and scientists use hypotheses to understand the world around us. They are both concerned with discovering the truth. However, there are some important differences between the two. Historians deal with the unique, while scientists deal with the general. For example, every historical event is unique and cannot be repeated exactly the same way. But historians can still use generalizations to understand them. Predictions in science and history. Another difference is that science can make predictions about the natural world, while history cannot predict the future. Historians can use their understanding of the past to make informed predictions about the future, though. Finally, the author argues that historians are subjective, just like scientists. However, historians can try to be objective by using evidence from multiple sources and being aware of their biases. The role of generalization in history. History is concerned with the relation between the unique and the general. Generalizations are essential for understanding the past and learning from it. Sociology is concerned with the same issues as history, but it approaches them from a different perspective. Both history and sociology need to use generalizations in order to understand their respective subjects. By comparing different historical events, we can learn important lessons from history. For example, the importance of self-determination and the dangers of secrecy. The function of history is to promote a deeper understanding of both the past and the present. History can help us to understand the present by providing us with insights into the past. The role of prediction in history. Science deals with probabilities, not specific predictions. For example, the law of gravity doesn't prove that a particular apple will fall to the ground. Similarly, historians can't predict specific events. But they can provide general guides for future action based on past experiences and generalizations. For example, if a few children in a school have measles, we can predict an outbreak based on past experience. This prediction is a valid and useful guide to action. The historian proceeds in the same way. They can't predict specific events, but they can draw inferences from history about the future that serve as guides to action and a key to understanding how things happen. The inferences of social scientists or historians may not match the precision of physical scientists, but their aims and methods are not fundamentally dissimilar. Subjectivity in social sciences. Have you ever wondered how the social sciences differ from the physical sciences? Let's explore the unique characteristics of the social sciences. The social sciences study human beings, making the subject and object of study the same category. This means the observer's perspective inevitably enters into all observations. The process of observation can even affect and modify what is being observed. For example, the Bolsheviks learned from the French Revolution and took steps to avoid a similar outcome in their own revolution. Classical theories of knowledge assumed a sharp dichotomy between the knowing subject and the object known. However, modern science has shown that the observer and the observed are inextricably linked. To be a rigorous and objective discipline, the social sciences need to develop a new theory of knowledge that takes into account the interaction between the observer and the observed. It's a challenging task, but essential for progress in the social sciences. History, a secular discipline. As a historian, it's possible to believe in God. However, we cannot invoke God as an explanation for historical events. It's like being an astronomer and invoking God to explain the movement of planets. The historian is interested in the public actions of historical figures, not their private lives. We should not pass moral judgments on the private lives of individuals who appear in our pages. It's not our role as historians. The idea is to study history objectively and impartially. This means studying history without reference to religion or morality. It's the only way to ensure that history is studied fairly. Critics argue that religion and morality are important factors that have influenced human behavior throughout history. However, we can still study history in a secular way while taking these factors into account. It's a complex issue. The historian's duty, moral judgments. The idea of historians passing moral judgments on historical figures has a long history. This view was reinforced in 19th century Britain, where individualism and moralizing tendencies were prevalent. Some historians believe that it's their duty to pass moral judgments on historical figures. They argue that it's the inflexibility of the moral code that gives history its authority and utility. However, others argue that it's not within the competence of the historian to pass moral judgments. They believe that historical figures cannot be held responsible before any tribunal whatsoever. While the duty of the historian to pass moral judgments on historical figures is a debated topic, it's important to approach it with a balanced perspective. We can learn from the views of various historians and scholars. The importance of historical interpretation. History is not just a record of events, it's a process of struggle. We must move beyond individual blame to understand the broader societal issues at play. Focusing solely on individual blame can obscure broader societal issues. Germans today welcome the denunciation of Hitler's individual wickedness as a satisfactory alternative to the moral judgment of the historian on the society which produced him. Institutions and policies of the past require moral judgment. The historian should pass moral judgment on the institution, but not on the individuals who created it. History involves a process of struggle where some groups benefit at the expense of others. It's not exclusively a problem of history but is a part of ordinary life. The issue of the cost of progress appears in its most dramatic form in periods of radical change. It's here that we find it easiest to study the attitude of the historian towards it. In conclusion, historical interpretation and moral judgment involve a complex balance. The historian must strive to understand the broader societal issues at play. The cost of progress. The Industrial Revolution is often viewed as a great achievement in British history. However, the cost of progress was high, with the exploitation of workers and the driving of peasants off the land. Historians often treat the abuses as an unavoidable part of industrialization. But if we take the same approach to the collectivization of peasants in Soviet Russia, we risk being accused of condoning evil. The colonization of Asia and Africa by Western nations is also viewed as a necessary policy for industrialization. But the cost was high for those who suffered, and the benefits were not reaped by those who paid the price. As Engels said, history is cruel and leads her triumphal car over heaps of corpses. We must acknowledge the human cost of progress and strive for real progress that does not come at the expense of suffering. The relationship between history and morality. The idea of a superhistorical standard of morality is impossible. Moral concepts change over time, like the meaning of freedom. Our moral judgments are influenced by the historical context in which they're made. For example, our view of slavery is shaped by the fact that it's now illegal in most countries. It's important to recognize that history is not subject to a superhistorical standard of morality. The relationship between history and morality is complex and cannot be easily summarized. The importance of history as an academic discipline. History is a far more difficult subject than classics, and quite as serious as any science. We need to make our demands on those who pursue it more rigorous. Some historians and literary intellectuals are so busy telling us what history cannot and should not be, that they have no time for its achievements and potentialities. It's time to change this narrative. The study of man and his environment is the same for scientists, social scientists, and historians. Our fundamental purpose is seeking to explain, and our fundamental procedure is question and answer. The historian, like any other scientist, is an animal who incessantly asks the question why? In my next lecture, we will examine the ways in which he puts the question and attempts to answer it.